In today's episode, threaten my job when I'm already quitting? Have fun with no workers. You said do not shut down for any reason. Tell me I don't have to show up? Fine, I won't. So let's get started. Threaten my job when I'm already quitting? Have fun with no workers. I work at a well-known huge grocery store in the bakery/deli. I've been in the general area now for 3 years, been in management, and recently stepped down this year to focus on college. In early July I turned in my letter of resignation letting them know that August 13th would be my last day. It's now about mid-July now, and we've got an audit going on. Basically everything has to be perfect, they ask you questions about your job, everything has to be on code, etc. Up till this point we've been having an issue with staffing because instead of hiring employees full-time they hire everyone part-time. I am the only full-time employee in my department. Because of this, there's never enough people to work, and they'll schedule 4 people working 3 or 4-hour shifts one night, and then the next one person will be closing alone the entire night, usually me. I'm fine with that, I enjoy working alone, but this night was extra stressful with all the extra work I had to do because of the audit. I was all alone the night in question, and working a shorter shift than usual. We tend to close the deli around 8 p.m., and have 2 hours to clean up. I was scheduled till 8:30 p.m., and spoke to my managers about it, and got permission to close at 5, so I could take a lunch break, and have 2 hours to close up. My managers also said that I would be sent someone around 7:30 p.m. to help me close on time. Around 7 p.m. a woman comes up to the meat slicers asking for some sliced meat. I tell her I'm sorry, but we are closed for the night. She cheese me out for a moment, complains that she comes here every other night, and we are always open, and I explain to her that we are low on staffing, and I've already cleaned the slicers for the night, and she leaves. About 5 to 10 minutes later my assistant manager walks up and asked me what the problem was. She had gone to management and demanded we slice her the meat. I explained the situation and his response was to berate me for closing the deli down early, and tell me to help her and just clean it again. Just stop being difficult, is what he said. After slicing her some meat we ended up being out of a different kind, and she walked out of the store leaving everything behind and meaning I had created more cleaning for nothing. I was pissed. I took a walk to cool down, and went to find my buddy who was supposed to come over at 7:30 p.m. and ask when he was coming over. When I found him he told me he wouldn't be able to come over because the assistant manager had come over and given him a long list of stuff to do for the rest of the night. That pissed me off even more. I found the assistant manager and was like, dude, WTF, and reiterated that I was leaving at 8:30 p.m. and needed assistance, and he told me to once again stop being difficult and just to get it all done. I told him there was no way I was getting it done in time, and said that my schedule says I leave at 8:30, so I'm leaving at 8:30, regardless of how much is left to do. I guess he hadn't gotten the memo that I was quitting soon, and so, in response, he tells me that if I can't do my job well enough that maybe I should start looking for another job. That was my breaking point. After 3 years of working with shitty management and their backward ways I decided I didn't need to do it anymore. I told him okay, found some of my favorite coworkers and told them goodbye, and it was nice working with them, and walked out. Haven't gone back since. They failed their audit. 6 other employees in my general area quit shortly after time due to most of them traveling out for college. The rest are planning on leaving as well. As far as I know the entire area is F***ed up. Hope the manager got his ass chewed out, but I doubt it. I've reported some of the managers there for serious issues, telling me they were too busy to help women whose lives were being threatened in store, retaliation, threatening to fire people if they didn't work overtime, causing someone to lose Medicare and ration their insulin and be hospitalized for a few weeks, and they never went anywhere. You said do not shut down for any reason. About 5 years ago I was working as a production supervisor for a metal forging company. We had recently acquired a transmission part for a well-known American motorcycle brand. This part was being made on a hydraulic press, and we had trouble with the part melting our dies due to the unique shape of the part and the fact that this part should have been made on a forging hammer press, not a hydraulic one. We were getting very behind on the customer orders due to the fact we typically had to either repair or replace dies approximately every 1,500 pieces. This is in contrast to other parts that had die lives exceeding 6,000 pieces. My manager, who had only been on the job about 6 months, pulls me in the office and tells me on the next run, do not shut down for any reason unless the forge press breakdown. I tried to clarify that the dies would not last, and I would have to stop the process occasionally to replace dies. He was emphatic that under no circumstances was I to shut down the process. He even went so far as to email me a reminder of this. Hopefully you can see where this is going. Over the next run we do not stop, even though my QC guy is losing his mind over how bad the parts are. I tell him don't worry, it's all on me in my head, as he doesn't know about my manager's demand. We set a production record even though maybe 1,000 out of the 4,000 pieces we produced are good. Next day, plant manager and quality director pull me into the office. It's explained to me that I'm probably gonna lose my job due to the fact I blatantly allowed non-conforming parts to be produced. I asked if I could print an email for my defense. I get quizzical looks, but plant manager okays it. I print off the email from my manager stating not to shut down for any reason and hand it over. My manager gets his ass reamed. I get a firm reminder that regardless of demand we must assure quality over quantity, and that the only reason I was not terminated was the fact I was acting under explicit direction from a manager. Tell me I don't have to show up? Fine, I won't. This story takes place from when I was back in middle school, so I don't remember most of the details. Some background. In middle school, I was in the gifted/talented program. I mostly got along with everyone, but there was this one girl that nobody liked named Alice, fake name, obviously. Our school district was going to open a new middle school, so for the entire final quarter, they had us design dream schools to give them ideas for it. We were put in groups of 3, and I was unfortunate enough to get put in a group with Alice, who was a complete narcissist, but the other kid, who we'll call him Jack, was fine. At the end of the project we would present our schools at the high school, where we would win awards for different categories, like the Oscars. I must note it is not mandatory to go, but I did want to because I cared a lot about school. The story. The first day of the project, Jack was not there, but Alice and I were actually able to compromise on stuff, which is huge for Alice standards anyway. I remember thinking that maybe this wasn't going to be so bad, but boy, I was wrong. The next day Alice comes into class telling Jack and I about all the ideas she had come up with after class yesterday, which she had conveniently organized into a folder for us to look at. She had already done all the naming, mascot, and logo without asking me or Jack for any input whatsoever. As the project progressed, things got a whole lot worse. Alice started doing the entire project on her own, even when me and Jack were there, and yelled at us any time we tried to do our part. I started to do part of it on my own, and every time she saw it, she would delete everything I had done. Jack was mostly fine with it as he saw it as a way to do nothing all class period, but I was livid. I yelled back to her once and she said, "If you don't like it, you don't have to come." At the time I didn't think much of it, and before I knew it we had a week to go, and we were massively behind schedule. Alice still thought her project was the best, but without input from me and Jack, her project was more inbred than a Habsburg. I didn't want to get a bad grade, so I started to do more, but Alice kept berating me to stop and do it her way. I think the teacher got note of this, because I walked away with like a 97. 3 days before the presentation date, Jack told us he had soccer practice and couldn't make it, so I would be left alone with Alice. It was at this point I remembered Alice telling me, "If you don't like it, you don't have to come," and when my mom asked me if I wanted to go to the presentation, I simply followed what Alice wanted and just said no. I did, however, tell Alice that I was going to, which I must admit was really petty. The fallout. I heard from my friends in the class Alice was there all by herself, but she couldn't get set up in time because I wasn't there. The rest of the evening, she tried her best to present it, but again, she ended up doing really badly because I wasn't there. She won no awards and I heard everyone thought she had the worst project. I get to class the next day and she saw red. The teacher went to the restroom and Alice just started chasing me around the room. Thankfully I was fast, and I was able to avoid her just long enough for one of my friends to get back with the teacher, who told Alice that she shouldn't be angry that I didn't go. Be careful what you wish for, stupid. Thanks for watching.